Well met, everyone. This is my review of Artifacts of the Guild. This is a bunch of new magic items, 260 is what it says, for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. As a DM of D&D, and 5th edition specifically, I'm currently on my 3rd consecutive campaign. When I kill my players pretty soon, we'll be jumping into our 4th. I've been DMing for 25 plus years. Magic items, to use the examples from video games, loot, loot, loot. It's a very important part of character progression. It's a very good reward system. It's that carrot on a stick. And whenever someone, a community, creates more options, I definitely want to take a look. I just purchased this PDF this morning. Apparently, my money was burning a hole in my pocket, and as I checked through my email this morning, I noticed that DMsGuild had sent me a newsletter or something that said, hey, here's this new book out. So for $9.99, I gave them my money, and I downloaded this PDF. As it's a PDF, I cannot comment as to the build quality of this book. I'm not even sure, you can do the research yourself, as to whether the book is even available yet. As I said, I think this is pretty new, released as of this week, if not this morning. And I have just a PDF, so I can't tell you how the binding feels and what the tactile feel in your hand is, but content is content. So I can definitely speak to what's within the pages. And hopefully in this review, I can just show you and highlight what's in it, what you might get, and inform to you and help you decide whether you think this might be some content and some things that are a good fit for you and your gaming group. So let's jump into it. We have Artifacts of the Guild. It is a DMsGuild community collaboration. It says, within these pages are 260 awe-inspiring magical items written by 58 of the most brilliant writers I have ever known. So we've got a bunch of magic items for 5th edition D&D. They start with a table of contents. It is alphabetized, so very good. Because of the efficiency of PDF, if I wanted to take a look at the Eavesdropper Gauntlet, which is on page 26, I can simply type in 26, and there it is. So really good. I have actually purchased some PDFs where they didn't line up. So navigation, simple. Aesthetics. I've been a graphic designer for 25-ish years, working professionally with Photoshop and Illustrator and Adobe stuff, marketing materials. This is my tip to anyone in the world out there that's creating content. Never stick so hard and adhere to the aesthetic and the vibe that you're trying to go with that you don't make something legible. What I mean is, so you've got this guy's name here, Terry. It's in this cool cursive font. When we think fantasy, magic, we're thinking Lord of the Rings, and right, we all have these font ideas, this script or Old English, really elaborate, detailed calligraphy type of font, right? That's what fits. But the bulk of what you're trying to convey here is words, information that needs to be read and navigated through. Use fonts that are legible. And in that regard, A+, top notch. You've got this parchment in the background with this kind of darker brown, grayish, almost black font choice in color. Also, the font is similar to what we would read in a novel, so it's familiar to us. Our eyes can navigate through it easily and efficiently. It's in column format. Even as I scroll through into the items, your eyes aren't having to track too many different places. You're trying to convey information, make it readable, that's paramount, before you start getting into making things look flashy. Yeah, this font is beautiful, but if all of the words were in this capitalized script, it's not going to read well. That's just design 101. So good job in that regard. Table of contents, as I said, you've got them all alphabetized. So as we get into the items themselves, what are we looking at? Let's look at some more design and aesthetic again. I like this cool kind of where the numbers are, showing you page numbers. This reminds me of kind of a Lords of Waterdeep. Again, kind of fantasy motifs and things you might see hanging from banners and flags. You've got this bolder heading, real easily recognizable. What am I reading? What's the name of the item? They did a really cool job in this design element of showing you what rarity something is. So what they used here is, and it's interesting that before I even thought about doing this review, early this morning I played a couple of games of Hearthstone. So Blizzard has done it. You'll see it when you loot those items. Even games have piggybacked off of that, Borderlands and whatnot. I don't know who came first, but you have things where you're looting a common or uncommon item because it's gray or green or white. But as you loot really rare and high level stuff, you're getting purple. You're getting blue. You're getting legendaries and things like that, artifact level, because they're kind of gold in color. Just like Hearthstone cards, if you look at the center sort of gem bubble, that indicates to you what rarity something is. It's brilliant because, as I mentioned in the beginning about navigating through a piece, I can quickly scroll through and know, all right, as I start to memorize, and it's familiar to me. I know when I see purple, I'm thinking it's probably better than gray or white. You know, when I see this yellow, that stands out to me. When I see that gold, and I can quickly navigate and scroll through, and I know right away, okay, there's the uncommon stuff. Let's look for the blues. Those are all rares. There's some right there. There's one right there. There's one right there. You know what I mean? And that's really well done. Really well done. They kind of added that fun element of it's kind of video gamey, but it just gives a good visual and aesthetic. So really good job as far as these little headings that are color-coded, very similar, perhaps not by mistake, to like what you would see in Blizzard stuff or in the Hearthstone cards. Now, that being said, there are some things that I believe could be improved, and that is the indication of whether something requires attunement. That's a thing when it comes to magic items. I believe the DMG says all characters can attune to 3 magic items at most at one time. I change it as a DM. I have it related to my character's proficiency modifier, so as they gain levels and they get more powerful, they can kind of have more stuff attuned. But it's important to know, and I believe, you know, the only indication of whether something requires attunement is this little small area where it kind of is just a little lost within the color and the boldness of the heading of it. Similar to where, like, if you're looking through D&D Beyond or on magic item spell cards, you have like a C in a little box where, in that regard, you know that spell requires concentration. If they had maybe put some sort of indicator so I can quickly navigate through whether something requires attunement or not, I believe that could have been done a little better. I mean, it's there, the info is there, so not a major, you know, slight against it. You're getting 260 magic items and a lot of content for $9.99, so it's definitely not enough to sway my opinion, but I'm just simply identifying something that I think could have been done a little better. It indicates whether it's a wondrous item and requires attunement. So moving through navigating, you have a bunch of cool text. You know, you've got the physical, the description of a thing, or some of these items might mention some of the lore. So here, like, we're looking at the Airstep Shroud. It's a stylish garment woven of fine silk in different styles, black dyed and featureless. Some shrouds are long and trail along the ground, fully covering the wearer's legs, while others are smaller and lighter, hanging over one's torso. So good description in that regard. When you get into something, you know, a little more epic of nature, originally crafted by Malachi Brightshield, this set of armor has protected countless warriors on battlefields across the plains. Each time its wearer fell in battle, the armor trapped a small piece of their spirit, increasing its power. Here you're looking at a little bit, I don't know the backstory to what campaign setting maybe the writer of this item might have been inspired by, or what item this might have been a part of, but it definitely feels world free, meaning you can take this Malachi Brightshield NPC and create a lore and story set based on this item and fit it within your world as you see fit. So that's a beautiful touch, that where it needs to be, it'll describe an item, and it'll give you just some good background. And then, of course, you have the effect. What does the item do? So really good job in the amount of detail and depth and story that they give to each item. Now, a negative point to the items is not everything has accompanying artwork. I understand for 260 items at $9.99. I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'm a graphic designer, and I have been doing some graphic design work for almost 3 decades. I've also delved into concept art and various things like that at a certain level, and I understand the expense of art, where if you're looking at high level, you know, so the concept artists from video game companies, Witcher 3 and Blizzard and Bethesda, or Lord of the Rings, Weta Digital and stuff, some pieces of art might cost you $200, $300, $500 per piece, even though you're just drawing an axe. So I understand that to keep costs down, to get 260 items and offer you all of that content for $9.99, it makes sense, but it would be nice to have some accompanying artwork. Also with the artwork, for the art that is here, there's definitely some discrepancies in art quality. You've got some pieces like this, which are just well done. I don't know who this artist is, but if I was to scroll in, it's a letter F. That artist, his signature, when you look at these pieces, it's like that one there. This anvil. There's a blade in here, right here. Beautiful. I mean, we're talking DMG official WotC produced content. Beautiful, beautiful art. But yet, then you might have some like this, where it's just sort of a cartoon drawn, or, you know, a lot more basic. Or this, which almost looks like Google Images. Aesthetically, it kind of doesn't appeal to me as much. I know that they're trying to get some pieces in there, but I believe maybe if you're not going to keep the same art aesthetic, leave off some of those pieces. Best case scenario would be perhaps lesser quality art, maybe like this, but for everything in the game. So just be aware, you're not going to get a visual for everything. It does do, as I said, a very good job of describing what something is, so that's well done. Now, where the art is, it's well laid out. You know, I remember reading back, I don't remember what edition it was, but I think there was a monster manual where Design 101, it was all over the place. There was a heading of a monster description and what that monster did, but yet the artwork accompanying it, because it just didn't fit in the format and the layout of the page, might have been on another page. It was difficult to tell what the hell picture went with what. Now here, of course, I know we're not talking about Amber Tarantula Hawk is this vial. That probably fits with that. But if you had a page that had 3 swords described, you want to kind of know which sword goes with what column, right? So they did a pretty good job in that regard of the art is within visually where it should fit when there is art. So the art definitely leaves something to be desired, but I'm not going to belabor that point because, again, it's not a turn-off enough for me. The content is there. You know, you're getting a lot of font and meat and potatoes. The other thing is, what I'll often do anyway is I take these items before I hand them to my players and I implement them into my own Photoshop stuff, because I create these like little magic card templates where I just simply take a proxy kind of magic card and I fit it inside of some dragon shields and I slide it in there and I hand my players those magic items. And that way it feels consistent, where they might have their spell card. They just come to the table with their little deck box, they open it up, and they can pull out all their magic items and refer to that stuff. So oftentimes what I'll do is I will simply take this stuff anyway. Alameyer's Alchemical Alembic, for example. I'll even pull it up here. You're gonna lose my beautiful face for a moment as I show you. So I will use a... Oh no! It's all set up. You can still see me. So you can see here I have, it's actually laid out already in a magic card template. So what I'll often do anyway is I will take something like this. Okay? I don't think I'll be able to, let me print screen that. And I'll bring this guy in here, move him over, and we are looking at this effect. This is why the art is not as big of a deal for me, but it could be a big selling point for others. I want to make the art or the items special to my players. So I may often take something like this, where you know what it does. Of course, we're going to have the title. I don't remember what it is, but for the sake of whatever, it's some Alameyer's Alchemical Alembic. So whatever it may be. Now, because I've been following the whole potion of healing, because of the amount of times that I've spent just searching for awesome concept art, I will often search online for my own artwork, right? Like this is a really cool piece. So I'll save that. You're bringing this to just the privacy of your table, so it doesn't matter you're fighting copyrighted stuff. And for demo purposes, I'm not claiming that's mine. I'm just showing you my process. So I will take something like this. You know, so you can certainly find professional level, high level concept art of various things and then I print out this card. You know, I'll make it look nicer design-wise, aesthetically. I'll have the cool borders and, you know, it'll mesh well. But I will often find my own artwork anyway, so it's not a make or break that there's no artwork here. You know, I'll find some high-level, professional-level concept art for what the different weapons in Lord of the Rings might have looked like. So back to the goodness of it all. I like that when you're mentioning certain monsters here, it says here when you speak the command word and throw the figurine to a point on the ground within 60 feet, the figurine becomes a living giant tarantula hawk. Well done in providing a sort of, it looks like a cut and paste of it, but a monster manual, you know, aesthetic to giving you information as to what that monster is. So it's right there for you. Well done. Well done. Now, I'm not going to give you every item, of course. That would make the video 7 hours long, but a quick scroll through, like I said, gives you good descriptors where necessary. It gives you possibly accompanying artwork. It tells you what the effect is. It lays things out familiar as we would read it in a monster manual or a DMG. It has awesome indications of what rarity something is visually. You can identify it quickly by the colors. While a little small, it does at least, of course, tell you wondrous item and requires attunement or not. Now, let's just talk through a couple of them. Here you have a common item called Armor of Questionable Taste. This armor is made up of a few provocatively revealing pieces that leave little to the imagination, but surprisingly function like normal non-magical armor of its type. Again, related to that video game thing, beautiful touch. You look at those Japanese RPGs and whatnot, you know, you see the beautiful, sexy, elegant warrior goddess who's going into battle, yet all she has is like breast cups and a bikini bottom. And, you know, for the purists out there, or those that understand the nuances of why all armor in actual medieval history, it was made the way it was for a reason. What the hell is she protecting with that? Nice little touch here where you've got this piece of armor where you can say, you know what? You're just getting some big giant World of Warcraft shoulder plate and some pants, but yet it still functions like full plate armor. So nice little touch that they even brought that in there. And then you contrast that with something as awesome as like a full epic high level very rare armor set called Armor Forgotten Heroes, which has a full set piece. I can go to page 14 to see what the breastplate is and page 31 to see what the gauntlets are. And as you get these pieces a la sort of Diablo style, you will get set bonuses. As I wear 2 pieces of this armor set, I get more bonuses. As I wear the full 3 pieces, I get an additional bonus set in addition to whatever they each provide individually. So that's a cool idea and creation on some things. So you have a lot of variety here. What that kind of indicates to me is you're not just getting 260 sort of rehash and reskins. It's not just taking exactly what's in the DMG or else, you know, in Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica or whatever official books. I've got D&D Beyond, the entire Legendary bundle, so I can scroll through magic items efficiently, you know, and start to look through some things. And I've got, you know, because it's pulling up things from all sorts of books, I like that you're seeing good variety here. I like that you're seeing some new stuff. And I think that's just the influence of sort of creative minds, 58 people all jumbling together, you know, is you're going to create some cool stuff. I don't know the exact level as to what, you know, which is important with magic items, to what level these things are play tested, you know, what's broken, what's not. But that's something that is subjective in a way anyway. Yes, we know something that's insanely broken. That's pretty much generally agreed upon among the entire D&D community, but there are certain items that just don't fit for your group or for your table, or maybe you're playing high fantasy versus low fantasy. So I do like that there's still this sort of official thing. I paid money for it. It's put out there on DMsGuild. I'm assuming there's going to be a certain level of playtest and balance to these things. I just know that creating my own magic items, which I have done, it can get really unwieldy. Things can snowball very quickly. So I like that they may be inspired by what's already out there, because you assume the things in like the official DMG and official books are well balanced, and maybe they just make some different twists and turns on those items and create something a little bit new, you know, or maybe they're playing off of, like here, you're looking at like 3rd edition spells, bull strength and whatnot, you know, so it looks like just there's a lot of cool variety and new stuff, which is really important. We just want options, and I think with that, you just create more fun and bring more interest to your table. And this, as I said, it's a reward system for DMs to hand to their players. So More of it is always good for me. And when you're getting this much variety, but things that I'm reading, I haven't read through all of them, and I'm not going to on video. But as I'm reading, I'm not feeling like every page is just more of the same. So if it's truly 260 entirely new, unique things that aren't in any of the other books, why would you not buy it? So scrolling through, those are the type of things you have. I'm not even really going to go over any specific ones that indicate to me. As I said, I like that one little simple armor piece that kind of, jokes a little bit about, so there's some humor there. It jokes a little bit about the complaints that people might have of, dude, you're just wearing fancy boots. How do you have full plate? Well, I'm wearing that type of armor, right? And then you have the contrast of these leveled up things, or you have a massive artifact. I mean, look at these Blackheart, these two artifacts. We're looking at an entire 2.5 pages for 2 items. So clearly, there's a lot of work and detail here. Let's just look at this, and then I'll kind of move towards the end of the video. Blackheart, it's an artifact. Wondrous item, requires attunement. You can identify by the yellow-greenish look of all artifacts. So really quickly I can navigate through. You can see that it's a different green from this. So you can see there's not a lot of golds and yellows, greens. So clearly there's not a lot of artifact and legendary items. This ancient and potent item's history has been lost to the ravages of time. The tribe's folks of Serpent Isle claim it to be the heart of the world serpent, their deity, cut out by a fabled hero of eons past. The Yuan-Ti believe that it is the heart of Mershulk, master of the pit. I don't know what Serpent Isle is. I don't know what Mershulk is. I don't know what master of the pit, blah, blah, blah. I know what Yuan-Ti are. So I can certainly take this Blackheart item and figure out where it fits within the lore of my world. There's a long story there, and then you've got all this other stuff. Whenever a non-evil creature attunes to it, you have to make a DC 17 Charisma saving throw. Otherwise, your alignment will change. While attuned, you gain the following benefits. You roll on the minor beneficial major, just like the artifacts would be in DMG. You have some adjusted ability scores. You have aspects of the serpent. After spending time studying the item, you acquire serpentine characteristics that mark you out as being touched by this artifact. Your eyes may become snake-like. Scales may cover your skin. A thin, writhing tail might emerge, or fangs might appear in your mouth. It gives you advantage on charisma persuasion checks made to interact with evil creatures, and charisma intimidation checks made to interact with non-evil creatures. Well done, cool. You can just see that the level of effort and attention to detail that was made for these items, if you were to take that and push that out for another 259 items, a lot of content there. Really, really cool. So as we navigate through towards the bottom, I'm really big, I talked about it in the beginning, on navigation and ease of identification of things. I like that at the very bottom, or the back of the book I should say, you've got items sorted in an index, if you will, sorted by rarity. This was a brilliant thing in the recent book I purchased, non-official WotC product by Kobold Press called the Creature Codex. It's a monster book. In the back of the book, besides them all within the book alphabetized, just like you saw the table of contents alphabetized, in the back of the book it also had monsters sorted by CR, which is important because if my players are level 5, I want to look at things between 1 and 6, 1 and 7. I want to kind of narrow things down so I know what they're against. But it also had monsters sorted by terrain type. Tonight's fight, they're going to be going through jungles. I want to find some forest jungle creatures. In this regard, I want to reward my players. This is sort of a level 5 dungeon. I want to reward them with things that are in the common, uncommon, rare range. I don't want to give them any very rare items. It now sorts for me. I don't have to look through and digest and be overwhelmed by prep time of all of these items here that are highlighted because I'm not going in that category. So nice, beautiful touch that things are alphabetized, but it does sort them by rarity. So I can kind of, and of course, as PDF, I can quickly, I want to look at common only, 6, 7, 9, 15. I can just, boom, page 6, immediately identified. There it is, 7. Bag of the Bookworm, Bag of Barking Stones, immediately identified because of colors. 15. The Brooch, and so on. So really good touch. Let's see if I missed anything at the bottom and back of the book. Yeah, so there it is. That's it. Alphabetized, awesome items. They all sound different. Probably the best part of the review I can give you is There's 260 things here for $9.99, and all of them, in some regard, some more than others, feel different than what we already have. So you're just getting more. So I strongly recommend you take a look at this book. It's a PDF that you can acquire. Just look it up. It is called Artifacts of the Guild, and you will find it on DMsGuild, which is a website. So there it is. I hope this helped you as to whether this might be a fit for you and your gaming group. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate it. See you later.